The neon lights of New Hong Kong cast purple and blue shadows through the windows of Master J. Park's dojo. It was early morning, and the artificial sun was just beginning to brighten the dome of their colony. Jay stood in the center of his training room, watching his best student with careful eyes. Rose Kim moved through the ancient forms with grace that reminded him of flowing water. Her black training uniform made soft sounds as she punched and kicked at invisible enemies. But Jay wasn't watching her physical form. He was watching the gentle blue light that followed her movements, visible only to those who knew how to see it. Again, Jay said quietly, "But this time, feel the energy inside you. Don't try to control it. Let it flow naturally, like breathing." Rose nodded and started the form again. She was 22 years old and had been training with Jay for 15 years. She was the only student who could see the energy flows, just like him. The only one who understood that their art was more than just fighting moves. As she moved, the blue light grew stronger. It wrapped around her hands and feet like gentle flames. Jay smiled. In all his 60 years of training, he had never seen anyone with such natural talent. Suddenly, a shadow passed by their window. Jay's smile disappeared. He walked to the window and looked out at the crowded street below. Among the morning crowds and floating cars, he spotted them. 3 men in black suits, trying too hard to look normal. They were watching his dojo again. "Master Jay." Rose stopped her practice. "Is everything okay?" Jay turned back to his student. "Yes, but we need to talk." He walked to the small shrine at the back of the dojo and lit an incense stick. The sweet smell filled the air as he sat on his meditation cushion. Rose sat across from him, waiting. "The Stellar Corporation has been watching us," he said simply. "They'd want what we know." Rose's eyes widened. Everyone knew about Stellar Corp. They controlled most of the space colonies, including New Hong Kong. But why? "We're just a small dojo." Jay shook his head. "We're much more than that. Rose, what we practice here, it's not just martial arts. The energy you can see, the power you're learning to touch, it's real. And in the wrong hands, it could be very dangerous." He reached into his robes and pulled out an old book. Its cover was made of real paper, something rare in their digital age. "This contains the true history of our art. Long ago, on Earth, there were many who could use this power. They were guardians, protectors. But over time, they were hunted down by those who feared them or wanted to use their power." Rose took the book carefully. As she touched it, the blue energy around her hands made the pages glow softly. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you're ready," Jay said. "And because I fear we don't have much time. Stellar Corp doesn't just want to learn about our power. They want to control it. Use it. Turn it into a weapon." A loud crash from outside made them both jump. Jay stood quickly. "Take the book home. Study it tonight. Don't let anyone see you with it." Rose put the book in her bag, her hands shaking slightly. "What about you?" Jay smiled, but his eyes were serious. "I'll be fine. I've dealt with their kind before." He put his hand on her shoulder. "Remember what I taught you. The power doesn't come from strength or anger. It comes from balance, from understanding who you are." As Rose left through the back door, Jay watched the men in black suits through his window. They were talking into their wrist communicators now, not even trying to hide. He sighed and began preparing for his evening class, knowing that everything was about to change. In a tree across the street, a large black crow watched the whole scene. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural blue light, the same color as the energy that flowed through Jay and Rose. It spread its wings and took flight, disappearing into the artificial sky of New Hong Kong, carrying secrets older than the colony itself. Rose sat cross-legged in her small apartment, the old book open in front of her. The city lights outside her window made the pages glow orange. She had been reading for hours, learning about the ancient warriors who could use the same energy she saw during practice. The book talked about spirits too, powerful beings that existed between the physical world and something called the spirit realm. Rose wasn't sure if she believed in spirits, but after what she had seen at the dojo, she kept reading. A tapping sound made her look up. There, on her window ledge 20 floors up, stood a large black crow. Its eyes glowed with the same blue light she saw during training. Rose blinked hard, but the crow didn't disappear. "This can't be real," she whispered. The crow tilted its head and tapped the window again. Without thinking, Rose got up and opened it. Cold night air rushed in, but the crow didn't move. Instead, it spoke, not with a voice, but directly into her mind. "The dragon's child sees us at last," it said. The words felt like ice in her head. Rose stepped back. What are you?" "A guardian, like you will become." The crow hopped into her room. "Your master knows his time grows short. The people in black suits, they have already decided his fate." "What do you mean?" Rose felt fear grip her chest. "Is Master Jay in danger?" "He has always been in danger. All who carry the old knowledge are." The crow's blue eyes seemed to look through her. "But you are different. You can change what comes next." Rose grabbed her phone. "I have to warn him. He already knows." The crow flew to her table, landing next to the book. "That is why he gave you this. The knowledge must survive." Rose sat down heavily in her chair. "I don't understand. Why is this happening? We're just practicing martial arts." The crow made a sound that might have been a laugh. "What you call martial arts is just the surface. The energy you see, it is the power that holds worlds together. Those who want to control it would tear reality apart." Suddenly, Rose's phone buzzed. It was a message from Master Jay. "Tomorrow's demonstration must go perfectly. The future depends on it. Trust what you see, not what you're told." The crow read the message and nodded. "It begins." "What begins? Please, I need to understand." "In the spirit realm, we have watched your kind for centuries. Some humans were born with the ability to touch both worlds, to channel energy between them. They became guardians, keeping balance." The crow's eyes dimmed slightly. "But then humans reached for the stars, and corporations like Stellar saw the power as a weapon." Rose thought about the men in black suits. "They've been watching us. They've been hunting us." The crow corrected. "Your master is one of the last true teachers. And you are stronger than you know." The crow hopped closer. "Tomorrow, everything will change. When it does, remember, the power answers to your spirit, not your fears. Watch for my sign." Before Rose could ask more questions, the crow spread its wings and flew out the window. The blue light faded, leaving her alone with the old book and too many questions. She spent the rest of the night reading, learning about energy techniques she had never seen. The book showed ways to channel spirit energy for healing, for protection, even for seeing hidden truths. With each page, she felt the blue energy inside her grow stronger. As the artificial dawn began to light up the colony's dome, Rose packed her training bag. Her hands shook as she carefully put the book inside. Master Jay's message kept playing in her mind. "Trust what you see, not what you're told." Outside her window, the city was waking up. Ships moved between buildings like glowing fish. Workers headed to their jobs in the lower levels. Everything looked normal. But now Rose knew better. She could feel something coming, something that would change everything. As she left for the dojo, she didn't notice the crow watching from above, its blue eyes glowing brighter in the morning light. The demonstration hall was packed. Hundreds of people sat in the floating seats that circled the performance area. Master Jay stood in the center, wearing his traditional white uniform. Rose stood beside him, trying to calm her racing heart. "Remember," Jay whispered, "no matter what happens, stay focused on the energy." His voice was calm, but his eyes kept moving to the corporate section, where the men in black suits sat watching. The lights dimmed, and Jay stepped forward. "Today," he announced, "we will show you the true art of energy control." He moved into his starting pose, and blue light began to flow around him like water. The crowd gasped. They shouldn't have been able to see the energy. Normal people never could. But Jay was making it visible to everyone. Rose felt fear grip her stomach. He was exposing their secret to the world. In the corporate section, the men in black suits were talking urgently into their wrist communicators. Jay began his demonstration. His movements were perfect, each step releasing more visible energy into the air. The blue light formed patterns around him, dragons, birds, ancient symbols that Rose recognized from the book. For centuries, Jay spoke as he moved. This power has been hidden, but now, when humanity needs it most, it must be revealed. He spun in a circle, and the energy spiraled up to the ceiling. Rose saw movement in the shadows above. Dark figures were working with the gravity generators that kept everyone safely in their seats. She wanted to shout a warning, but Jay caught her eye and slightly shook his head. Then it was her turn. Rose stepped forward and began her part of the demonstration. As she moved, she felt the energy respond more strongly than ever before. Blue light streamed from her hands, matching Jay's movements. They began the partner forms they had practiced for years. The energy between them grew stronger, brighter. The crowd was silent, watching in awe. Even the corporate suits had stopped talking. That's when Rose saw the crow. It was perched on one of the floating seats, its blue eyes glowing brightly. "Watch," its voice echoed in her mind. "Remember." Suddenly, the gravity generators pulsed. Rose felt herself get lighter, then heavier. Something was wrong. The machines were being tampered with. Jay knew it too. He moved faster, his energy growing more intense. "Rose," he called out, "remember what I taught you about balance." The generators pulsed again. People in the crowd started to panic as their seats wobbled. Rose tried to maintain her stance as her weight shifted wildly. Then she saw it, a beam of dark energy shooting down from the ceiling, aimed at Jay. It wasn't an accident. It was an attack. "Master," she screamed. Jay turned, saw the beam, and smiled. In that last moment, he looked peaceful. He raised his hands, and all the blue energy in the room rushed toward him. The dark beam hit him full force. There was a flash of blinding light. Rose felt a surge of power hit her like a wave. Jay's energy, all of it, flowed into her in a rush. She heard his voice in her mind. "Keep it safe. Keep it alive." When her vision cleared, Jay lay motionless on the floor. The blue light was gone. People were screaming. Floating seats were crashing, and security drones were flooding into the hall. The crow landed next to Rose. "Run," it said in her mind. "They'll come for you next." Rose wanted to stay, to help Jay, but she could feel his energy inside her now. She knew the truth. He had planned this. He had given her his power to keep it from those who would misuse it. Through her tears, she saw the men in black suits moving toward her. Without thinking, she let the energy flow through her body. It lifted her up, carrying her toward a high window. The last thing she saw as she escaped was the crow, flying beside her into the neon night of New Hong Kong, leaving behind chaos and questions that would change her life forever. 3 days after Master Jay's death, Rose lived in the shadows of New Hong Kong's Undercity. Here, far below the bright lights of the upper levels, the streets were dark and forgotten, perfect for someone trying to disappear. She sat in a small room she had rented with cash, practicing with her new powers. The blue energy came easier now, stronger than ever before. When she closed her eyes, she could feel Master Jay's presence in the energy, guiding her. A knock at her door made her jump. The blue light vanished instantly. "Food delivery," a voice called out. Rose hadn't ordered any food. She moved silently to the door, energy ready in her hands. When she opened it, she found a young man holding a takeout bag. He wore simple clothes, but his eyes were sharp and alert. "You're causing quite a stir upstairs," he said quietly. "The corporations are looking everywhere for you." Rose started to slam the door, but he held up his hands. "Wait, I'm here to help." I knew Master J. The crow appeared suddenly, landing on the man's shoulder. Its blue eyes met Rose's, and she felt its thoughts. He speaks truth. Rose let him in, but kept her distance. Who are you? David Lee, he said, putting down the bag. I help people hide from the corporations. Master J was my friend. He knew this day would come. Rose sat down heavily on her bed. You know what happened? David nodded. Stellar Corporation has been hunting people like you and Jay for years. Anyone who can use the spirit energy. They've been trying to harness it, turn it into a weapon. He pulled out a small device and showed it to Rose. A hologram appeared, showing the corporate facility. They've built special chambers, trying to extract and store spirit energy. But they can't control it. It only works through living people who have the gift. Like me, Rose said quietly. Yes, but you're different. You're stronger than the others they found. And now, with Master J's power added to yours. David looked at her with concern. They'll never stop hunting you. Rose stood up and walked to the window. In the distance, she could see corporate ships still searching the upper levels. I can't keep running forever. No, David agreed. That's why I'm here. There's a resistance network. People who fight against corporate control. We've been waiting for someone like you. The crow hopped onto the windowsill. Show him, it said in Rose's mind. Rose held out her hand, letting the blue energy flow freely. It formed shapes in the air. Dragons, warriors, ancient symbols. But now she could do more. The energy reached out, lifting objects in the room, making them float. David watched in amazement. I've never seen anyone control it like that. Master J's final gift, Rose said. He transferred all his knowledge, all his power, to me. Sometimes when I use it, I can feel him guiding me. She turned to David. But I don't know what to do with it. I can't fight an entire corporation. David smiled. Not alone, but with help. He pulled out another device, showing maps of corporate facilities. We've identified their main spirit energy research centers. If we can shut them down, expose what they're doing. The crow's voice echoed in Rose's mind. The time for hiding is over. Now you must become what you were meant to be. Rose looked at the maps, then at her hands still glowing with energy. She thought of Master J, of all he had taught her. The corporations had to be stopped before they destroyed everything the ancient masters had protected. Show me everything you know, she told David, about the corporations, about their facilities, about how to fight them. As David began explaining their plans, the crow watched from the window. Outside, in the dark undercity, more crows began to gather. The spirit realm was stirring, preparing for the battle to come. The real training was about to begin. Rose sat in a meditation pose in an abandoned warehouse. David had turned it into their secret training space, filling it with old computer screens and stolen corporate data. The crow perched nearby, watching as blue energy swirled around her. Your power grows stronger, the crow said in her mind. But there is more you must understand. Rose opened her eyes. Then help me understand. Who are you really? Why are you helping me? The crow's form began to change. Blue light wrapped around it like a cocoon, growing larger and brighter. When the light faded, a tall figure stood before her. It looked almost human, but its skin shimmered like starlight, and its eyes held the same blue glow. I am a guardian, it said, now speaking with a real voice. For thousands of years, we have watched over the balance between your world and the spirit realm. David, who had been working at his computers, dropped his tablet in shock. That's real, he whispered. The guardian nodded. As real as the energy Rose commands. We chose certain humans to help us maintain the balance. They became the first masters, like J. Park. Rose stood up slowly. But why me? Why did Master J choose me? Because your spirit burns brighter than any we have seen in centuries. The guardian walked toward her, leaving ghostly footprints of blue light. You can do something even J could not. You can channel the spirits of fallen warriors. Rose remembered the strange feelings she sometimes got while training, like other people were guiding her movements. You mean I can connect with dead masters? Yes. Their knowledge, their power, their very essence. You can call upon them when needed. The guardian waved its hand, and the air filled with ghostly shapes. Warriors from different times and places, all glowing with the same blue energy. These are the ones who came before you, the guardian explained. Each gave their life protecting the balance. When Jay transferred his power to you, he opened a door. Now you can reach them all. Rose watched in amazement as the spirits moved around her. She felt their energy, their memories, flowing into her mind. Fighting styles she had never learned came naturally to her fingers. Languages she had never studied suddenly made sense. But be careful, the guardian warned. The spirit realm is not a weapon to be used carelessly. That is what Stellar Corporation fails to understand. They want to force the door open, drain the energy for their own use. If they succeed, both worlds will suffer. David stepped forward. The research facility we found. That's what they're trying to do there, isn't it? Break into the spirit realm. The guardian's face grew dark. Yes, they have built machines to capture and store spirit energy. But the energy was never meant to be contained. Each time they try, they damage the barrier between worlds. Rose felt a chill as she remembered the dark beam that had killed Master Jay. That's what they used at the demonstration. Spirit energy they had captured and corrupted. Correct. The guardian turned to her, which is why you must learn quickly. The corporations grow bolder. Soon, they will tear open the barriers completely, trying to take the power by force. Rose looked at the spirits around her, feeling their strength, their knowledge, their determination to protect both worlds. Then teach me, she said. Show me how to use this gift. The guardian smiled, its form shifting back into the crow. We begin now. Let the ancient ones guide you. Feel their power flow through you. Become what you were meant to be. A bridge between worlds, a protector of the balance. As Rose closed her eyes and opened herself to the spirit's guidance, David watched in wonder. The blue energy around her took shape, forming ghostly figures that moved in perfect harmony with her body. In that moment, she was no longer just Rose Kim. She was the heir to centuries of spiritual warriors, preparing for the fight of her life. The Stellar Corporation's research facility looked peaceful from the outside. Its white walls rose high into the artificial sky of New Hong Kong, gleaming in the morning light. But Rose could feel the wrongness inside, a darkness that made her spirit energy twist and churn. Security systems are down, David whispered through her earpiece. He sat in their hidden base, surrounded by computer screens. You have 10 minutes before they notice. Rose touched the wall, and blue energy flowed from her fingers. The spirits of ancient warriors filled her mind, showing her how to move through solid objects. She stepped through the wall like it was made of water. Inside, red warning lights flashed silently. Rose moved quickly through empty halls, following the pull of corrupted spirit energy. The guardian crow flew ahead of her, its wings leaving trails of blue light. 2 guards around the next corner, the crow warned in her mind. Rose didn't slow down. As the guards appeared, she let the spirits guide her movements. One ancient master helped her slide under their weapons. Another showed her how to disable them with quick, gentle strikes. The guards fell asleep before they could radio for help. The main lab is 3 floors down, David said. But Rose, I'm seeing some strange energy readings. Be careful. Rose took the emergency stairs, using spirit energy to float down quietly. With each floor, the darkness grew stronger. She could feel the barrier between worlds stretching thin, like a balloon about to burst. The main lab doors were locked with heavy security, but Rose wasn't alone. She channeled the spirit of a master thief who had died centuries ago. Her fingers moved on their own, pressing hidden points on the door. It slid open silently. What she saw inside made her gasp. Giant machines filled the room, humming with stolen spirit energy. In the center, a massive cylinder reached from floor to ceiling. Inside it, blue energy swirled like a tornado. "They're trying to make a permanent portal to the spirit realm," the crow said. "If they succeed, both worlds will be torn apart." Scientists in white coats worked at control panels. None of them noticed Rose. She could feel their excitement, their pride in their work. They didn't understand what they were destroying. "1 minute until security resets," David warned. Rose stepped forward, letting her power flow freely. Blue light filled the room. The scientists turned, their eyes going wide with fear. "Stop what you're doing," Rose said quietly. "You don't know what forces you're playing with." A woman in an expensive suit stepped out from behind the machines. "Actually, we know exactly what we're doing." She smiled coldly. "Thank you for bringing us even more spirit energy to study." Guards appeared at every door, holding weapons that glowed with dark energy. Rose felt the spirits stir inside her, ready to fight. "Last chance," Rose warned. "Shut it down." Instead, the woman pressed a button. The cylinder in the center started spinning faster. The barrier between worlds stretched thinner. Rose didn't hesitate. She called on every spirit she could reach. Blue energy exploded from her body. The guards fired their weapons, but Rose moved like water between the beams. Each movement was guided by a different ancient master. She danced through the lab, touching machines with spirit-charged hands. Where she touched, the machines crackled and died. The stolen energy inside them flowed into her, returning to the spirit realm where it belonged. "The containment field is failing," a scientist shouted. The woman in the suit grabbed a weapon, but Rose was already moving. With one spirit-guided strike, she knocked the weapon away. With another, she sent the woman sleeping to the floor. "The whole system is overloading," David said urgently. "Rose, you need to get out of there." But Rose wasn't done. She floated to the central cylinder, placing both hands on its surface. All the spirits moved with her, lending their strength. Together, they pulled the stolen energy free, letting it flow back to its rightful place. The machines exploded in showers of sparks. Alarms screamed. As smoke filled the lab, Rose ran for the exit, the crow flying beside her. Behind them, years of corrupt research crumbled into ruin. "This was just one facility," the crow reminded her. "There are more." Rose nodded as she escaped into the morning light. "Then we'll shut them all down. Every single one." The space station hung like a silver spider above New Hong Kong. Through its windows, Rose could see the colony's dome glowing far below. This was Stellar Corporation's main research center, where all their spirit energy experiments had begun. "Their CEO is inside," David's voice crackled through her earpiece. "Anna Park. She's the one who ordered Master J's death." Rose floated in space near the station's outer wall. Spirit energy protected her from the vacuum, forming a bubble of blue light around her body. The guardian crow somehow flew beside her, unbothered by the lack of air. "She's waiting for you," the crow warned. "This is a trap." "I know," Rose said, "but we have to end this." Using the spirit's power, she phased through the station's hall. Inside, emergency lights flashed red. Alarms screamed warnings about hull breaches that didn't really exist. David's computer skills at work. Rose moved through empty corridors, following the pull of spirit energy. It led her to massive doors marked executive level. They opened as she approached. Anna Park stood in a large circular room filled with spirit energy containers. She was a small woman in an expensive black suit, but her eyes burned with ambition. "Welcome, Rose," Anna said. "I've been studying you. Such amazing power. You're exactly what we've been trying to create." "You killed Master J," Rose said quietly. "You're tearing apart the spirit realm." Anna smiled. "I'm advancing humanity. Think about it. With spirit energy, we could power entire colonies. Travel between stars. Maybe even live forever." She pressed a button on her wrist. "Join us. Help us control it. The containers around the room hummed to life. Dark energy poured out, surrounding Anna. Her body lifted off the floor as she absorbed the stolen power. The old masters were weak, Anna said, her voice echoing strangely. They kept this power hidden, used it for parlor tricks. I'm going to use it to change the universe. Rose felt the spirits stir inside her. Centuries of warriors, all facing the same battle. Those who wanted to control power versus those who understood it. You can't control spirit energy, Rose said. It's not a tool. It's alive. It has to flow freely between worlds. Anna's answer was a blast of dark energy. Rose dodged, letting the spirits guide her movements. The blast hit a wall, leaving a hole melted through solid metal. The fight began. Anna attacked with corrupted spirit energy, each blast more powerful than the last. But Rose had centuries of knowledge to draw on. She moved like water, like wind, each motion guided by a different ancient master. Blue energy met dark energy in explosions of light. The room began to break apart as their power clashed. Through the holes in the walls, stars shone like distant witnesses. The guardian crow flew in circles above them, watching as the balance between worlds hung in the balance. More spirit crows appeared, filling the room with blue light. You're destroying everything, Anna shouted, firing another blast. Rose caught the dark energy in her hands, feeling its pain. This power had been tortured, twisted from its natural form. She began to purify it, letting it flow back to the spirit realm. No, Anna gathered all her stolen power for one final attack. I won't let you ruin everything we've built. The dark energy exploded from her like a wave. But Rose was ready. She called on every spirit, every master, every warrior who had ever protected the balance. Their combined power flowed through her. Blue light met dark energy in the center of the room. For a moment, they were equally matched. Then Rose felt Master J's presence, adding his strength to hers. The blue light pushed forward. Anna screamed as her stolen power broke apart. The dark energy dissolved, returning to its natural state. She fell to her knees, ordinary once again. Around them, the space station groaned. Their battle had damaged it too badly. It was breaking apart. It's over, Rose said, standing over Anna. The spirit realm is not yours to control. The guardian crow landed on her shoulder. We must go. This place is lost. Rose nodded. As station alarms blared evacuation warnings, she created a spirit energy bubble around Anna. They might be enemies, but she wouldn't let her die. Together, they flew from the dying station, leaving behind the ruins of one corporation's dreams of power. Below them, New Hong Kong waited, and a new chapter was about to begin. 1 year after the space station battle, Rose stood in her new dojo. Sunlight streamed through real windows, not the artificial light of New Hong Kong, but true sunlight on Earth. After exposing Stellar Corporation's dangerous experiments, she had chosen to return to humanity's homeworld. The dojo was built in an old temple in the mountains. Its wooden floors and paper screens looked ancient, but hidden among the traditional decorations were modern training tools. David had made sure they had everything they needed to teach both the old and new ways. Your next student is here, the guardian crow said from its perch by the window. It had stayed with Rose, helping her build this new beginning. A young girl walked into the dojo. Her name was Mai Wong, and she was 12 years old, the same age Rose had been when Master J first noticed her gift. Mai looked around with wide eyes, taking in the blue energy that flowed freely through the air. You can see it, can't you? Rose asked gently. The energy that moves between worlds. Mai nodded. I've always seen it. My parents thought I was making up stories. Rose smiled, remembering her own childhood. It's not a story. It's a gift. She held out her hand, letting blue energy dance across her fingers. Would you like to learn how to use it? Yes, please. Mai stepped forward eagerly. Then she noticed the crow and stopped. Is that? A friend, Rose said. One of many who will help teach you. The spirits of ancient warriors appeared around them, visible to May's gifted eyes. She gasped in wonder as they bowed to her, welcoming a new student to their ancient tradition. David walked in, carrying his latest invention, a device that could detect disturbances in the spirit realm. After stellar corporations' fall, he had worked to create technology that worked with spirit energy instead of trying to control it. Everything's quiet today, he reported. The balance is strong. Rose nodded. Since the space station battle, other corporations had tried to continue Stellar's work, but Rose's new school was ready for them. She had trained more gifted students, creating a network of guardians across Earth and the colonies. Together, they protected both worlds. What happened to the bad people? Mai asked. The ones who tried to steal the power. Anna Park and the other corporate leaders faced justice, Rose explained. But more importantly, they learned. Some of them even help us now, using their knowledge to protect the spirit realm instead of exploiting it. The crow flew down to look at Mai. The greatest victory is not defeating your enemy, it said in all their minds, but showing them a better way. May didn't seem frightened by the crow's voice. Instead, she smiled. Will I learn to talk to spirits too? In time, Rose said. First, you must learn the basics. Balance, control, respect for the energy that flows through all things. She took a training stance. Are you ready to begin? Mai copied her stance perfectly. As she moved, blue energy flickered around her, weak and uncertain, but definitely there. Rose felt Master J's presence, watching through her eyes as a new generation began the ancient journey. Outside the dojo, more crows gathered in the trees. The spirit realm was at peace, but it always needed guardians. As Rose began May's first lesson, she knew this was what Master J had wanted, not just to pass on his power, but to ensure the ancient knowledge would live on, growing and changing with each new student. Remember, Rose told Mai, speaking words that echoed through centuries of teachers and students, the power doesn't come from strength or anger. It comes from balance, from understanding who you are. The blue energy flowed between them, between worlds, between past and future. And somewhere in that flow of power, Master J smiled, knowing his legacy was in good hands.